Welcome to our broadcast today, to our training. What we're going to go into in this webinar is do you want to know 3 reasons not to start a business for some people? So let's say some people, why people don't start business. We're going to get into that and we're going to cover these topics. We're going to let you know how things go and you can take it from there. Now, as far as we're going to do, we break down a 360-degree analysis of what's going on in the world today, how if you want to start a business, you can get into it. And if you're not going to start a business, we're going to get into why people don't start a business on this broadcast today. And we're going to break down everything so you can know where you stand at if you want to start something or if not. So since we're about to set up, we're about to finish set up, we're going to get into this broadcast today. My name is Bazzeffanu, I'm Menkezares, and we're going to get into how and why, some of the reasons why people don't start a business. Now, if you're in it for the money, that's not a good way to start a business. You ain't going to be able to finish if it's just about the money. You can get the money by going to a job. If you're in it for the notoriety, that means it's about yourself, your ego, then that not going to compute when you want to correspond to customer. You got to understand that. You won't put your business needs ahead of your own. So imagine that. If you're in your ego, you ain't gonna put the business need ahead of your own. Because ego is about self, narcissistic point of view, which is not focused on the narcissistic point where you just put the business first. So you gotta be able to understand your ego affect your ability to achieve what you want. Plenty CEO are narcissistic because they got to focus on one particular task. It's about one thing, and some people is egotistic, and it's all about themselves instead about what they're supposed to provide into that area of expertise when it comes to their skills, their need, and what they have to offer. So if you aren't cut out for business ownership, there's a reason why you're not cut out for business ownership. And we get into these topics and these webinars to understand if you're going into something, you got to go all the way in or do not go all the way in. There are skills you can develop, good development skills, personal skills, and training you can develop to get you into IT. That's going to be a way to go if you just want to get more money. The average pay could be around $6,000 a month. Depends on your skills when it comes to IT, especially with coding. If you're in it for the money, you don't start business to get rich. You got to understand that dynamic. You don't start it just to get rich because you have an idea you want to start a business. The odds of success aren't in your favor. Why it's not in your favor? Because you mean you're more likely to lose your investment and other people's investment if you want to walk away from millions. So imagine if your mindset, if you're in it for the money. You got to understand the concept where you put yourself, why you're in this position to get yourself out of that. You're in it for the notoriety. That means you're in it for some kind of attention that ain't going to compute and add up when it comes for you to start a company for impress attention and putting the cart before the horse. So why is that? You want to build a strong brand with an interesting story, and the media attention will follow. So if you're not building a strong brand with an interesting story, do not go into business. You're not cut out for it. You won't put your business needs ahead of your own. Why people don't put their business need ahead of their own? It's like you're living in a mindset where you're not looking at all aspects of the business when it even comes to making payroll. Could you do that? Could you make payroll? That's going to be some of the questions you're going to have to ask yourself. The reason why some people ain't cut out for business, even according to the statistic and that is put forth, and even by what you call HubWorks, which also stated that when it comes to running a business, sometimes it's take what? You coming all in. You need to move towards entrepreneurship if you want to succeed. Otherwise, you need to hide if you hide from these problems, why would you want to move into an arena where you're going to have constant disruption any level you go through in life, there's a negative and a positive. Are you confident to go through that, to succeed? Or are you going to be arrogant, and are you going to be in a mindset where you don't look at the vision that you need to look at when it comes to being confident and running your business the way it's supposed to? So if you aren't disciplined, you ain't going to cut out for running a business. Do not go past and collect dollars from people if you're not into the mindset of how business is supposed to run. You got to be disciplined at what you're doing. You got to show the evidence that you're working hard to proceed to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So understand that when you try to establish a business, you don't have any product or any system in place, that's going to be one of the reasons why people don't go into business. You don't have a system in place. These are some of the stuff you got to put in place in order to run a business and be productive. You got to start off with a product. You got to start off with a service. You got to be well confident of what you're doing. You got to be disciplined. You got to know how to run your business. You got to meet payroll when you got to meet it. And if you have to hire an accountant, make sure you hire an accountant. But you got to take the leap in that area to manage your energy before you can even manage someone else. You got to be effective. So this is the reason why people don't cut out to run a business, because they don't understand. And if you want to be a manager in a company, you're going to have to understand this dynamic. So imagine when you're moving forward, your big goals in life is about happiness. Is that correct? So how much hours you going to put in without breaks? Can you leave? Or are you in a mindset of, can you do a lot of work hard, and don't worry about hours? That's going to be a mindset to put yourself if you want to be living a happy life and reach all your goals. You need a big motivator in place than your personal happiness, so to speak. If you want to push past the hard times, how you going to push past the hard time? You got to decide to work long hours with no breaks. Can you do that? Can you decide to do that? Can you live that kind of life for a bit of couple of years in order to have the result? You hate having difficult conversation. These are some of the difficult conversations you're going to have with customer, with employees, with vendor, with investors, and more on. If you don't want to have these conversations, then you're more likely not go in business. Paraphrasing, as they said, if you can't handle the heat, do not get into the kitchen, right? So you gotta able to handle any part of the problem that come with a business if you want to go into business, or else you're not going to cut out for it. If you're not passionate about something, then you ain't going to even bring that passion when you're working for someone. So are you passionate about something, you're going to have to understand that dynamic of how your mind's supposed to work when you go into business. You have to be able to be honest and expect to contribute those mindset into your business, your passion into your business. If you heard it from Earl Nightingale, success is measured by what you try to accomplish. You got to write down goals. You got to proceed to achieve those goals at the time you're supposed to achieve it. If you don't have a strategic vision of the future, then you won't be effective entrepreneur when you're not a big thinker. So you must be able to see beyond the challenges to your future success. What challenge you going to see towards that future success? These are some of the things you're going to have to look at when it comes to your business, when it comes to if you want to start a business or if you do not cut out for it. Reason why you're not cut out for it, because you probably not look at some essential thing. This is what we unfold and cover in our broadcast for you to understand the mindset of when you need to look at certain things when it comes to your business. How are you going to achieve these goals? Are you really serious of developing the skills in order to run the business, or are you just the person that rather work for someone else? These are the things we get into. So if you do not have your strength, knowing your strength, what you're good at, and able to spend time on activity that's going to bring the highest impact, and able to delegate tasks to others, you ain't going to be suited for it. Just like a lot of people don't want to be a manager because they ain't going to be able to delegate tasks. They don't want to be a senior person at the firm because they don't want to delegate. They don't want to constantly delegate and become a high impact earner, a valuable and high value earner in that company. So if you can't objectively analyze your weakness, because you got a lot of people, if you tell them something about themselves, they become defensive, and next thing you know, they want to attack. These are those that within their ego, because the ego always go for defense instead of what can I do to improve myself. So you got to look at that when it comes to your weakness. There's no shame in that. Understand that what you do can create your success if you only plan to change them. So if you can't accept the possibility of failure too, most people ain't gonna cut out to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. You must live with the possibility of failure each day. Everything gonna come at you. You heard it from the name is slipping. It's on the top of my mind, but it's slipping. From John, is it what they call him? We look up that another time. He's a very successful businessman that went into a business, and he tell you, if you don't plan, if you don't prepare, if you don't create a plan, then you're going to plan to fail. If you don't have discipline, then you're going to lack the necessary things to provide for your family. John Ron, I think his name was, but we're going to get into that. His name is on top of my head, but he's the one that I think of when I try to explain this as far as what you need to do to achieve what you need to achieve. So when you look at failure, you got to look at failure a different way. You're going to make mistake. It's a part about developing whatever brand you want to develop. You're going to make mistake. If you do things at the wrong time, they're going to be failure. You got to do things at the right time. So we want you to project and look ahead in order to achieve your objective. Now, you aren't willing to trade the work. You're good at CEO life. Can you work hard? You aren't willing to trade the work, but you want to be a CEO. Because you're good at accounting doesn't mean you're able to be a good CEO. An accountant of an accounting firm, you understand? You might be a good accountant, but not the CEO. You might be the CFO. Play your position where you're good at. That's how things work. So stick with a regular job or self-employed if that's what you want to do. But you got to burn all kind of bridge when you go and get into business. Network of success, that means you're going to ruffle a lot of feathers. You're going to have relationship that go good and relationship that go bad. How you perceive it is how your mindset is. You're going to have to put much hard work to get your business off the ground if that's what you're going to do. But if you're not cut out for business, you got to create these skills. You got to look at your weakness for you to be successful at what you want to be successful at. So what is some of your strength? That's the question you need to ask. What's some of the possibility for changing what you do? That's some of the questions you're going to ask. So some of the things we have to understand, if you aren't in the right place in your life, you ain't going to be able to achieve being a business owner. Let's say you're out on your luck. Credit is bad, family issue. You ain't going to be able to focus because what? You're going through a storm, Yeah, Jim Rohn, that's the correct name I was trying to come up with. Jim Rohn said, at some time when things go wrong, everything gonna go wrong. So understand, that's like the Murphy Law. When things go wrong, there's a series of events gonna lead up to that. So if you ain't in the right place in your life right now, that can affect you. You can't function without sleep. You gotta be able to sleep. When you start a business, you need to be prepared for many sleepless nights, whether because you're working around the clock or you're worrying about your success. But you're still going to have to move forward if you're trying to achieve something. That's the mindset you need to have. Your family life can take longer hours than you usually expect. Imagine that. If you have a partner that has a demanding job or child care, this going to fall entirely onto you. There's no shame in willing to start a business until your family is in the more suitable place. So you got to imagine that. If your life is not where you want to be, you're going to have to work at it and work at it for long hours, put 5 years into it to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You care for your young children or an aging relative, but you got to consider the future, how you going to put yourself in that future to get the result you want to get. This is why people's not cut out for business. Family don't automatically disqualify you from starting a business. Understand that. However, you need to think actually about impacting, and doing so will also take care of others. What impact you going to create if you start your own business? So you got to understand these are some of the dilemmas why people don't start, because their position in life create influx of their energy. And once your energy imbalance, health occur. You got to have a mindset in order to go through the hard times and to achieve your objective. There's no free time in your schedule. If your schedule is already packed with obligation, you can't step away from. Add a new business to your docket will only overtax your already stressful system. Imagine that. So if you have an impactful life, many things is going on in your life right now. How are you going to be able to start a business? How are you going to be able to develop the skills you need? How are you going to do this research when you have so much thing on your mind? How are you going to get ahead if you don't able to alleviate the stress? This is what we're trying to bring towards you, to understand the mindset that you need to go through. So when you need to go ahead and say you're going to start it, you got to look at, do you want to start something, or do you want to work gradually in a field? You start with the skills, not something that you already know, skills that you can produce and create income from. This is what we're trying to get into, so you can understand the mindset of where you need to go. So when it comes to your partner, your spouse, even on board, whether it's a consultant you want to go to or you want to share, if you run into a situation where your spouse won't let you start a business, chances are your spouse feel that way for a reason. You got to be able to you got to be able to get in agreement with the spouse, get their point of view, why you feel that way. What's the reason why you think that way? Don't you think we need money coming in? And then able to handle that. You can't or you won't travel. Imagine how you're able to run a business. Business travel isn't always required, but attending events out of state or otherwise can speed up the critical process of building your business network. So if you're able to do that, that can speed it up, building your network. Your health won't allow intense work. So imagine that, sitting at your desk all day, eating ramen all night. That's not the lifestyle that gonna work when it comes to your health also, and come to a business. Those dealing with chronic health condition need to carefully consider the potential negative impact of the extreme stress when it comes to start a business. So if you is not in the right place right now, maybe it's not time to start a business. Start a digital business online. You got digital things, that products and services out there. How can you able to start a business? You're in school. If you're in school, your time is already occupied in a mindset where you might not able to start a business. You're not in the right place. Start a business require all your focus. Juggling school at these times, added demands being necessary, giving both a half-hearted effort in both things. That means you're going to give a half-hearted effort in school and a half-hearted effort in the business. That ain't going to work out for you if you want to go into business. If you're not in the right place, these are the reasons why people don't start business. And we want to get you to understand where you're at right now. You need a support system. If your support system is weak, successful entrepreneur do not do it all alone. You get it? You build a team, but you got to start by yourself in order to build a team. You got to show something in order for people to get on board with you. Proceed with caution if you have no partner or share household responsibility. You got to know how to share your responsibility with friends or relative to relieve the stress that you're probably going through, or get mentorship or guidance from someone that is more professionally. If you got to get counseling, go get counseling in order to understand your situation. If you need accountant, go get with an accountant that not, accountant or a business developer that going to look at your position to see if you can do it. Cause many people sell courses out there, but when it comes to if you're not in the right place, you getting in them course, you ain't going to be able to achieve what you want, even if you want to get into digital market, affiliate market, because your mindset is not in the right place. So if you want to get in that, there's things that coming in 2022 that we want you to get into in order for you to have the mindset of how business is going to be able to work for you if you do not if you're not or won't able to be in the right place in those time ahead. Because with this pandemic, things liable to change. How you going to move ahead? If you have no good outlet for stress, you got to seek certain outlet, exercise, whatever you need to do according to your current situation. You don't have current a strategic or a place to relieve the stress, you got to figure out a way to release the stress. Because when you start in a company, you're going to take all your time and energy. And if you need to go into areas, you got to remain focused where you are, or put your energy in that area where you can have your energy moving your business forward or whatever you try to accomplish. If you aren't willing to give up your hobbies, whatever hobbies you have, you're playing that video game, you got to give up that video game. Flip that with training in marketing, flip that with training in coding, whatever training you need to get in order to move your plan ahead, because you got to move to the next level. You can't be at this level, you got to move to the next level. So if you aren't willing to change your hobby, change your commitment, and move away from major downfall to things that going to give you the energy to find what you need to focus on and to move forward in your initial plan or whatever your initial stages. You got to do that. You got to give up certain things in life. You got to give up watching TV. Most people just go home and they want to put themselves on social media or put themselves on TV, just relax with TV without thinking of the next step. 10 years. If you do what you do now or how you do one thing, that's how you're going to do all things. You got to change them habits. If you aren't comfortable with technology, that's going to be a